This is your wake-up call.
This guy's garage. Like and subscribe.
Mr. Nader, the floor is yours.
Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much, Chair. I would like to begin by thanking Mr. Junot for being here. You mentioned that the CSIS has provided information on foreign interference in 2019 and 2021. And as a former agent for CSIS, could you tell us if you believe that the revelations in the press are credible? We're not certain if the source was from CSIS or some other organization, other organizations involved in security. That being said, the individual who was the whistleblower caused a historic event. Otherwise, we would not be here discussing this issue. And this is something that I myself witnessed over the past 30 years. And unfortunately, of the secrecy that I've had to maintain, the Chinese have gained a lot of territory, a lot of terrain. But the Chinese have been very aggressive, very bold, and they've succeeded in making a lot of progress. And I think that, yes, there is a difference between the ethical responsibility and the moral responsibility. And I believe that the whistleblower acted morally, which, in my opinion, is more important than the ethical or contractual responsibility.
Now, but I want to follow up. You spoke just now about very aggressive actions of the People's Republic of China, and the fact in your opening comments, as many as 70% of diplomatic operatives, diplomatics. Sorry, could you say that again?
This is a conservative number, 70%. Yes.
So perhaps even more in the fact that I believe, according to an order paper response that our party received, there are 178 accredited PRC diplomats in Canada, maybe 177 now after events of the last few days. But given this high number and frankly the high number of people acting, quite frankly, illegally, what do you make of the fact that it took 2 years for this one diplomat to be expelled, let alone potentially 70% of all diplomats?
Well, thank you very much, because the comparison is really important. America is our greatest economic partner, and they have about 80 diplomats here in Canada. So twice as much Chinese, and we have a trade deficit with China. Where's the mistake is coming from? My speculation as an investigator is that, unfortunately, at Foreign Affairs or Global Affairs today, we have some people working naively and non-intentionally, or maybe intentionally, on behalf of China. And a certain sort of shake-up must be done on that side as well. Look how much time it took to make a decision on expulsing somebody that was so obvious. And I say, and I repeat in what I said in my comment, we've known for the last 30 years, we warned the prime ministers, we warned the cabinets about all those things. And people, for self-serving interests, for partisanship, or by negligence, neglected to take action. I may understand the political ramification, the economic ramifications, and other ramifications that exist. But at the same time, because we acted so weakly, it took place that this foreign interference, took place and was well rooted in our system as we speak.
So we've now expelled one diplomat. Do you think that will have any intimidation effect, or any you talk about weak actions in the past? Is this a strong enough effect, one single diplomat, or do you think there has to be a stronger?
It's a step in the right direction. It's not enough. That's why I'm suggesting that we should cut the numbers of diplomats in place here in Canada. There's no reason to have so many diplomats with a country that doesn't want to do business with us. We have a trade deficit. We sold a company Nexon in Alberta for $15 billion. We're not even capable to buy a corner store in China. So this discrepancy between the relationship doesn't sort of generate or justified, I should say, to have so many diplomats, other than some people are favoring China for the wrong reason.
Now, you mentioned in your opening comments a series of points kind of to beef up our legal framework. The first one, you talked about a mandatory process for candidates, for staff, with a signed declaration with the threat of criminal proceedings. What sanctions would you propose in terms of the criminal proceedings? How strong of a jail time?
Because we're close to treason here, literally. So I say jail time. Now, the size of the jail time would be judged by jurisprudence and by our system, but definitely jail time. No fine, no suspended sentences or anything of that nature.
Mandatory jail time. In my few seconds left, in a CBC interview back in February, and you were reacting to the reports in the Globe and Mail at the time, you talked a little bit about the case of Kenny Chu and the fact that the Chinese community in his riding was manipulated by the CCP. I'm done, but if at some point you could elaborate on those comments.
It's your testimony here for the purpose of this committee that capturing these processes, that there should be clear laws in place that should CSIS have information intelligence that is verified as per Mr. German, that a candidate is seeking out foreign support within a domestic nomination or election, that should automatically trigger a criminal investigation, which should have with it a criminal responsibility, which you outlined as jail time.
The problem that the problem that we currently have with CSIS and the RCMP is their chain of command, and the reporting goes directly to the Prime Minister, and that's where the road blocks.
And your testimony is that we should have an arm's length government agency, independent of Parliament, empowered by Parliament, nonpartisan, that would be responsible for the full safeguarding of our democracy to ensure that this type of interactions are fully verified and fully investigated and ultimately fully prosecuted?
Absolutely.
Thank you. How's that working for us? Yeah.
Okay, are we serious? We were doing so good. Let's just maintain how great we are all doing.
I'm going to ask Mr. Juno Castuya, through you, Madam Chair, a couple of questions. First of all, you had conducted an interview with CBC in which you commented on Kenny Chu. And you said something to the effect of, quote, the Chinese community in his riding has been manipulated by the CCP. Can you elaborate upon that?
One of the strategy of foreign interference by the Chinese is to infiltrate the community and to be capable to influence, even bully the community into acting or working in a certain perspective. With the avenue of the social media, great exploitation have been started to simply launch negative campaign against certain individuals that will eventually influence the community. The community, the Chinese community, the Canadian Chinese community has been well educated for decades how much reach the Chinese government had in the community. And they know that they are under observation. They have not been able to report it to the authority, and when they did, the authority in the past were not able to investigate adequately. So they felt totally alone, so they adapted to the situation. And unfortunately, what we have is a community that reads very often Chinese newspaper, which are affected or manipulated by the states and delivered their own message. And at the end of the day, they know that within the community, there is agent of influence, Canadian, acting on behalf of the Chinese government, that are reporting on individuals. And now, if that was not enough, we recently discovered that there was secret police departments, Chinese police stations in the community. All that form of supervision, intimidation, and bullying have controlled basically many of the Chinese community that in great numbers have relative backs in homeland China.
In the Steveston-Richmond East riding and in other ridings in the Lower Mainland and in the GTA with a large population of Chinese Canadians, there was a significant drop in turnout and participation in the 2021 election. Do you think that's a coincidence?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is part of also the manipulation. And we've seen, for example, Chinese foreign student been told and instructed by the consulate, giving a document with the pictures of candidates and going door to door and speaking in Chinese to the constituent and saying, you vote for this person, you do not vote for that person. And letting know or pretending that they are capable to know who they vote for.
Thank you.